So welcome to the regular meeting of council in person and live streamed electronically for Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. So we'll start our meeting off. We had our swearing in of our council members who are here. We'll now have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. So the first item is adoption of agenda. Moved by Councillor Abbas, seconded by Councillor Crabtree, that the regular meeting of council agenda dated November 15th, 2022 be approved as amended to move items 8A, 8B, 8C, 8F, 8I, 8J, 8K from information items to action items, and that item 10 be added as an in-camera item. All in favor? Carried. This time, if there's any disclosure of interest or at any point in time during the meeting. The next is our minutes of previous meeting from November 1st. Moved by Councillor Crabtree, and I need a seconder. That the minutes of the regular meeting of council November 1st, 2022 be approved as circulated. All in favor? Any business arising from our minutes of our previous meeting? We have no delegations, no deputations. We move on to our report of municipal officers. First one is our clerk administrator, please.
Thank you, Chair. So in front of you this evening, council is members of committees and boards. This is a process that the new council takes on. So you will find in front of you the report that outlines what has previously, the numbers that have previously been appointed to the boards that we have, and how those have kind of functioned. This evening, I am asking for council to discuss the options presented and provide staff with direction to bring back a bylaw to appoint specific members to boards and committees as approved by council. So we do have a number of boards and committees to go through. Staff has reached out to some of the board members and committee members to verify if there's interest to continue to sit on the boards or committees. There was interest in some, and some had decided to retire from our committees and move on. So I'm not sure where you'd like to begin, but we can start with, I guess we can just go in order if you'd like.
Sure.
So we have Committee of Adjustment. Previously, it has been 3 citizen members. It can be made up in any format the council would choose to. Our current Committee of Adjustment members who do have interest on remaining on are Brian Gibbs, Tom May, and Jim Abbas. So the Committee of Adjustment can have council members sit on the Committee of Adjustment. So council, it's open for discussion.
Any questions, comments?
I think it's good. I mean, Councillor Abbas is now going to be on the Committee of Adjustment. I think it's good to have some council representation there, just to make sure that there's good input as far as the council direction and all of that's kind of being put through there is followed through. My question is can we have a second person of council also being a part of that too as well?
Yeah.
To be part of that too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's interest from another council member, we can appoint them, or council can appoint them to the committee as well. Yep.
Is there any interest from anybody else? Okay. Well, I'd like to sit on that, because then so that'd be the other side of it too as well. I think just having as much council oversight of the committee adjustment, it's a pretty important part of our planning purposes. And I wouldn't mind being part of that too as well. And we can keep the three, and the two other citizen members too as well, the current state.
Okay.
And go from there.
So can I just get consensus around the table that council's okay with that coming back as the bylaw?
So we'll have 4 people on it? then?
4, yeah,
2 council reps and 2 citizen appointments.
That's fine with me.
okay.
Can I just ask a question before we go further? How does that work when we're voting on something?
So
you've got
a tie
4.
is defeated.
So with 3 before it's,
A tie is always defeated though,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Similar to
gotcha.
council, yeah.
Okay.
And sorry. Things can come back to council too as well at that point too as well, right? So I mean, after that committee of adjustment, if there's an issue out of it, I mean, it can come to council for a final council decision too as well, correct?
Committee of adjustment makes the decisions. So it wouldn't come back to council, but in the event that it's tied, it's defeated.
All right, is there any way at that point that they can come back to council? There's no way that it can come back to council?
The only time it comes back to council is if there's potentially an appeal
An appeal,
and
okay.
that decision gets made by council on whether to, how to go in that direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the next one we have is fence viewers, which has been 3 citizen members in the past, and that was Tom A, Vince Carroll, and Claire Porter.
And they've all expressed interest to stay.
They have. We have very few fence viewer calls, to be honest. So, but they are all trained.
If you do need it for it, I would be willing to help out. If it ever comes up that somebody drops out,
So at this point, our consensus, are we fine to move ahead?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
with me.
Okay. We have livestock valuers. We have 2 citizen members, and again, we have Claire. We have Claire Porter and Vince Carroll. Again, those are trained people in that, and they work with staff to provide information that we send off to OMAPRA. So
I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
consensus.
they're hard to find, so that's,
Okay.
yeah, because we have somebody, so.
Okay,
I'm not worried about that.
So we'll take a break and swear in. We're able to vote on things, sorry.
Let's do that.
sure.
I agree.
Okay, we can take a break, or not a break, but we'll
Well,
just,
this, yeah,
we'll, our other council member, Councillor Kenny, has showed up, so we're going to swear her in for council. So you have your declaration of office in front of you.
just on committee appointments.
Okay, so we are back on committee appointments. So we are on the police service board at this point, which the head of council has sat on, 1 citizen member and 1 provincial member. So the provincial member that's been appointed is Bill Lai. So that's a provincial appointee. We don't have a decision to make on that. Our citizen appointment has been Ross McMurtry, and then we do need a member of council, whether it continues to be the Reeve or if another member chooses to sit on the board as well. But Bill Lai is a provincial appointee. Ross McMurtry still has interest on remaining the citizen appointee and a member of council.
So does anybody have an interest in the place?
I was going to, I was going to actually nominate Morgan to be part of the police service board. I think her insight on the police service board might be quite helpful. That's something you're interested in doing?
It's something I could consider doing, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'd be prepared at this time to say yes or no.
It's just the time.
Reeve?
Yep.
Do you want to stay on the
Yep.
police service board?
I will
Okay.
stay on.
Okay. And consensus, that's with council for, okay, okay. Rideau Valley Conservation Authority, in the past has been a council member, for the last 4 years. It's 8 years. It's been a citizen of, the public. So RVCA Rideau Valley they do request that it be a member of council. So currently the RVCA member is Vince Carroll. Is there a member of council that would like to take on the RVCA?
Yes, I would like to do that.
Okay, okay. So Councillor Kenny. And consensus of council that's, okay, perfect. Thank you. So we have the Smiths Falls Library Board, which has been a citizen member. Our citizen member is Sarah Lynn Martin, and she has interest on staying on the board as well. Any interest from council, or we'll leave it as a member of the public? Okay.
Best person for it.
Yeah, okay. Consensus? Okay. We have Merrickville Library Board. Previously, it had been 2 members. We've only had 1 member for a number of years, I believe. So is there interest from any council members to sit on Merrickville Library? Or are we good with our appointed member?
She's good.
Good, okay. Consensus.
Is she okay with being the only?
It's been for about
Yeah.
8 years, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, yeah. So if there's any interest from council anytime during the term, by all means, reach out to me and I will bring something forward. We have Property Standards Committee, which has been 3 citizen members. All 3 have shown interest on remaining. Now it's Brian Gibbs, Tom May, and Jim Abbas, who is now a council member, which is acceptable. So is there any issues, or is that consensusly fine with council?
For me.
Yeah, good. Okay. We have Montague Rec and Culture Committee, which is to be made up of 8 citizen members and 2 council members. We do have some of the members who are interested in remaining on. So we have Brandy Atwell, Jessica Lilly, and Katie Hamill. And then we would need 2 members of council. So currently we won't have quorum based on the numbers that we have for that committee. But is there 2 members of council that would be interested in sitting on that?
I'd be interested.
Okay. So we have Gerald and Jim.
I'd like to be on that too, though. I kind of was the,
Okay.
brought that
Jeff.
forward 4 years ago, so I'd like to continue on with that if I could, so.
So what we had in the past was 2 members with an alternate. Are we looking at potentially doing the same thing again?
We would have to,
Yes, because otherwise they're meetings of council.
correct. Would you consider being an alternate?
I'll be an alternate, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So Jeff will be the alternate with Gerald and Jim Abbas being on as the council members. Consensus?
Yeah.
So we will be posting to get other members to be appointed to that committee to get our quorum. We have the Airport Commission, which is based on the airport agreement, is the Reeve and Deputy Reeve, who will be sitting on that committee. We have alternate Lanark County Council members. So in the event that one of our county members cannot be present, they can send an alternate in their place. The previous councils have done rotational based on alphabetical order of council members. So it was presented in the report that 2022 would be Councillor Abbas, 2023 would be Councillor Crabtree, 2024 would be Councillor Kenny, 2025 back to Councillor Abbas, and 2026 to Councillor Crabtree. Are we interested in remaining the same? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's good. We have Emergency Management Program Committee, which we have one council member appointed to. Is there anyone interested in being on that? Okay. Consensus around the table that. Okay. So just make sure we have everything. Yes, so the other item that was brought up was for committee of the whole members or for the agendas and for committee of the whole, the chairs would be a rotational for committee of the whole as well, similar to that of county, so that the December 2022 to November 30th of 2023 would be Deputy Reeve Carroll would start off as the chair of the COW. December 2023 to November 30th of 2024 would be Councillor Abbas. December 2024 to November 30th of 2025 would be Councillor Crabtree. December 2025 to November 30th of 2020 would be November 15th of 2026 would be Councillor Kenny. Is there any issues or concerns with that?
I could speak to it just a little. Sure. I had brought that forward because the previous council, we had this discussion saying it's good experience so that you also are familiar with chairing committees. We unfortunately got hit with COVID, so Deputy Reeve Carroll was the only one who got to do one meeting. And when I saw this on the agenda with reference to how the county, it was like, I think that's a good idea that we continue on with that. So I will still continue to chair the council meetings. I will do the in-camera sessions, and then any of the COW where the chair is not available, I would step in as well so that somebody else doesn't have to fill in. But I thought if we did it on the annual basis, it made it easier for Ali to get everything prepared and then have everything here. So that's why I thought if we brought it forward, and if Deputy Reeve starts, because of the fact that he's already done it once, that gives the new council members,
Expert.
the new council members a chance at least to get to the process. Yeah.
So chair, through you, the only question I have in relation to that is the Reeve and Deputy Reeve remuneration is different than that of councillors. Is there any interest in discussing potentially a remuneration for the council members who take on the chair of COW, whether it's a small stipend or something different? If there's no interest, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we have that open discussion so that we can budget for that in 2023.
Can you check to see how others are handling it? Because that wasn't something we had a discussion on.
Yeah, sure. I can
Okay.
absolutely, and bring it back. We have time.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. So I think consensusly we have everyone. Okay. So based on consensus, do you mind if I just read out so we can just make sure? So Montague Rec and Culture Committee will be Brandy Atwell, Jessica Lilly, Katie Hamill, with Councillor Crabtree and Councillor Abbas, with Deputy Reeve Carroll as an alternate. Police Service Board will be Bill Lai, our provincial appointee. Ross McMurtry is the citizen appointment, and Reeve Jennings. Property Standards will be Brian Gibbs, Tom May, Jim Abbas. Committee of Adjustment will be Brian Gibbs, Tom May, Jim Abbas, and Jeffrey Carroll. Smith Falls Library will be Sarah Lynn Martin. Merrickville Library Board will be Wendy Simpson Lewis. Livestock Investigators, Claire Porter, Vince Carroll. Fence Viewers will be Tom May, Vince Carroll, Claire Porter. And Rideau Valley Conservation Authority will be Councillor Kenny. The Russ Beach, Smith Falls, Montague Airport Commission will be the Reeve Jennings and Debbie Reeve Carroll, as per the agreement. Our Emergency Management Program Committee will be Councillor Crabtree. This will all come back in a bylaw at the next meeting based on our discussions this evening, and a bylaw for the remuneration for 2023 will come back at budget time, as some of the boards do have a stipend that are associated with them as well.
So moved by Councillor Kenny, seconded by Deputy Reeve Carroll, that council direct staff to bring forward a bylaw appointing members of council to boards and committees as discussed to the first meeting of December 2022, and that council direct staff to bring forward a remuneration bylaw for the 2023 year for the respective boards and committees. All in favor? Carried. So we have no reports of committee, no petitions, no bylaws, no motion and notice of motion. And we move on to correspondence action items. So we have 8A. Yep. And that would be the media release, Andrewsville Bridge notice of public consultation. Is that just me? So it was just more so just to bring forward so that the public are aware that our Andrewsville Bridge is in need of some serious repairs. Lanark County is currently addressing the Blakeney Bridge, and so therefore we're following that very closely for our Andrewsville. And there is a survey out to be completed for December 2nd. So if everybody could ensure that they take a look at that and fill that survey out on behalf of our residents.
And just share through you, it is posted on our website. We have shared it on social, and we will continue to do so until December. Okay.
Because I brought that forward too as well, because another part of it too as well is that right now the recommendation coming out of it is to convert it to a walking bridge in the paperwork there, and I don't know if that's the best long-term plan from my perspective. As you know, what is that going to look like in 25, 50, and 75 years from now? And I think it's important for as many people to maybe go on that and look at that, because just having it as a walking bridge, is that what's going to be needed in 30 years from now? Is it something that we should be investing now to make sure that it's restored properly? So I mean, this is our biggest crowd since I can remember. So if people are looking at that, I think it is an important piece of infrastructure that's there. So, but thank you for bringing it up too as well. That's great.
So 8B, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association Roma 2023 conference. That was me too. Just again, for our new council members, just if they have an interest, because we have deadlines to apply for attending as well as getting hotels booked. So that was just to bring it forward to say you can take a look at that. Number C. Me again? Yeah. So just in support of the Draven alert, I think that we should be supporting the request to put out a separate alert for not just abducted children, but for the additional need for special needs or disabled children, so that we can't guarantee it, but if it could have possibly helped in finding this child sooner. So therefore, I'm in support of having an additional Amber Alert created called the Draven Alert. And I was just looking for support from council to support this resolution from Round Fork County.
As long as there's consensus, I'll do up a letter for the REIT to sign.
Maybe a
Okay.
consensus.
Yeah. The next one is F. And that would be the Mayors and Reeves Challenge for the Salvation Army Cattle Campaign. Just looking to see if we have volunteers to take some time for that cattle, just so that we can at least let them know.
Okay.
Find that one, so that we can have the timing. So,
It's set for Saturday, December 17th.
mhm.
So I will provide them your information for them to be able to reach out to you.
So they're looking for 2-hour.
2-hour
slots.
slots. Yeah.
So I'm available as well to be with. Yeah. Next one was Lanark County Organic Waste Report to municipalities.
I did bring that one up, actually. It's actually an interesting read about, I mean, obviously it's about composting and everything else, and it's kind of a touchy subject, I know, in the rural areas. But I mean, Perth has a pretty good setup too as well. I think that's more of, I'm just looking for thoughts from people too as well. Is it something that we want to float out there for some of our residents if they're interested in it or not? I mean, I know I do composting at home. I think a lot of our residents do composting, but there's a lot of areas in our municipality that can't do composting. We all know that it diverts a lot of the organic waste, keeps the methane gas out of the landfills. There's a lot of positiveness that comes out of that. And I don't know if that's something that some of our communities that can't necessarily do composting, either A, because they're in the more urban setting, but I've also heard of everyone I've gone around and talking with people, they don't do composting because they're afraid the bears might rip into it too as well. So I don't know if it's something we can float out there, like even on our webpage to say, like, if or Facebook page to say, is there any interest? There may not be any interest, but it's just one of those ones that as we continue to move forward, like diverting that type of organic waste out of landfills is massive. And I'm also curious too as well, is there a cost offset with the weight that's taking it out of that? Because we pay by the weight when we do our garbage. Could there be a cost offset for that, for something like that, where it actually may not be, it would be good and it wouldn't actually cost us little to nothing. So I don't know if that's a possibility or not. I'll look at Steve out in the audience there, as I'm not trying to drag him in, but anyways, that's just sort of my thought process behind that.
Sorry, can I just clarify through the chair? So are you looking at staff potentially bringing back with a 2023 budget a cost to do pickup similar to?
I not maybe yet, I think is what I'm trying to see. I'm more curious if there's interest from anybody in our public that might, the community that would want that or look at that. I mean, this is a pretty good report. The biggest thing is going through it, but it's good explaining. I think a lot of people don't understand why we actually have to, or what the big advantage of removing that waste from our landfills. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think it's good just to keep that information out there for people. And if there is interest in it, then we can maybe then bring back something, then we could have that discussion. But if there's obviously no interest coming back to the public, then it's harder in the more rural areas for sure.
Okay, so through you, we can definitely post and do a, surveys are not 100%, but it would still give us some kind of feedback. So we can do some kind of survey to see what kind of interest there are based on, and even in the survey to see what kind of knowledge, and if people request additional knowledge on the whole program.
I think that'd be a good idea for our community.
Okay. We receive a lot of feedback on leaf pickup, so I think maybe we'll tie the two together.
That'd be great.
We've been chatting about potential leaf maybe pickups or things like that, so maybe we can kind of tie the two together and bring something back to council.
That'd be good.
Okay.
And then J, Planet Youth Community Action Meeting.
I did bring that one forward too as well. I mean, it's a neat one. It's really about reducing the substance abuse in our youth, which we see as even a growing issue in our area. And I mean, this kind of came from Iceland, and they did I remember we had a presentation on this a little while ago too as well, and it was really interesting on how it really drove down the substance abuse in Iceland, and they started to use it around the world too as well. There's been a lot of very positive outcomes from that to drive down. So anyways, this is just something that's coming up next week. It is virtual, so you can log in and you can watch it too as well, which is cool if you don't want to go to the actual meeting. Yeah, and I think it's a good one for all of us, and especially even having, you know, people with kids and everything else. And I know for myself with a 10 and 8-year-old, that's a big concern of me going as they get older, is that substance abuse side of things. So I think it's a good one for us to all be aware of. And if we can make sure that it's also maybe posted around our stuff too as well, and so people can be aware of it in our, you know,
So for those that aren't aware, it's Thursday, November 24th, 2022, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. You can join virtually by Zoom or in person at the Zion United Memorial Church, 37 Franklin Street in Carlton Place. And it says that you can register at https://planet-youth-lanark-cp-mds.eventbrite.ca.
It's also on our social as well.
And then item K, 2023 OMPF letter to heads of council and allocation notice.
I can speak to that. We did receive our 2023 Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. I think it's important to note that they did make slight changes. We have seen a reduction of about $18,000 over the previous year. I think the more important thing to note, though, is that in rural Ontario, we've seen a lot of reductions on our Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. Since 2009, Montague has seen a reduction over $357,000 in the amount that we receive from the province. So that is substantial for us. In 2009, we used to receive $672,000. Now we're at $314,000. So that has a big impact on us when 1% levy is about $35,000. So we need to mindfully, as a council and as staff, work with council to prepare items for Roma and be delegations to really let the provincial government know what this impact has on us smaller rural areas.
So we have no unfinished business, other business. So before we go in camera, we'll ask and see if there are any questions of our audience. Nikki?
When you were talking about the compost program, wasn't there a time when the township either gave composters or offered them at a reduced price? And are those still available?
Yep, so we absolutely do. We sell composters here for $42.95. A composter. Steve sells them to me for $55 a composter. So it is definitely a reduced price that we do have composters here. And again, if we will create kind of a package to put back out there to remind people that maybe in the spring they'll be coming in to look at those. So we do sell them just at cost. Yeah.
great question.
Bill?
Yes, thanks, Reeve. Just a couple of comments and questions. Maybe this is to Ali. Regarding the appointments to boards and so on, I think there's one that may be missing, but maybe there's a reason, and that's the Rideau Corridor Landscape Strategy. The Rideau Corridor Landscape Strategy. I had sat on it, and Chancellor Spitt was the alternative. They haven't met much this year, but we used to meet a lot. That was my one question.
Okay, so Chair, through you, we didn't have that appointed by bylaw. So that was missed, absolutely. So I will look at that as staff and bring that back to council.
And my other question, please, is regarding the letters of support that you did tonight, and we often did, which was really great, I think. Generally speaking, at the end, whoever's asking for that support would also request letters to be sent out to. It has to be part of the sort of added on, I think, part of the motion, but the letters of support to be sent to our MP or MPP Usually it's our MP and our MPP.
Okay.
And then, but if it's really of importance to the provincial level, then you also usually will say a letter of support to all other municipalities in Ontario, where there's 444, but it's an automatic click and it goes out to everybody. So if it's a provincial thing, and a lot of times they are, then it's a good idea to let everybody else in Ontario know that in fact Montague is supporting Norfolk or whatever the case is.
Yeah, so just through you,
Yep.
so it is right in their motion, so that is, if we're supporting that motion, we will send it also to all of those members.
Tom?
Since you're appointing committee members to committees tonight, on your property standards bylaw, has it been upgraded since it was created about 20 years ago? Has it been gone over?
So we're not actually appointing, we'll be appointing at the next meeting through the bylaw. This is just council having discussion. The property standards bylaw has not been updated. It's whatever was council. Staff have to bring that back. But I think we should work with our committee to bring that back to council.
Thank you.
So if we can check with Grace.
Grace, any questions from the public?
There are no questions from the socials or on public.
Ally?
I have none.
So then.
Yeah, so we're going to be going in camera, so the public needs to vacate before we go in.
You take snacks with you?
Sure.
Take snack with you.
They better be awake.
Yeah, I think that's water.
Right, they can take a snack. Maggie, take a snack with you.
Oh, I put my name